It may be early in the hurricane season, but never too early to put plans in place. So if you own or operate a business, it's the right time to develop a written preparedness plan and organize a disaster management committee. You should also secure the roof, take down hanging outdoor signs, and remove loose objects on the compound which may cause damage from strong winds. And my last piece of advice is that you should consider using storm shutters if your building has extensive glass frontage. Hello, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for joining us. It's all about sharing useful information. That's what this program, Jamaica Magazine, is about. Much more to come, so stay with us.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash, no paper, no dash, no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your eat.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh and this is your JIS News for Thursday, June 15. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is assuring the investment community that government will act decisively to tackle crime and secure a better future for the island, sharing that numerous publications have placed Jamaica as a top-performing island in business friendliness. Mr. Holness says the only obstacle in the way of growth is crime.
We know that crime is a significant drag on the economy, a significant drag on people who are working hard and making their investment. But do not be deterred. The government will stand with you and provide you with the necessary security.
The Prime Minister was speaking at Wednesday's groundbreaking ceremony for Phase 1 of the Hampshire Housing Development in New Kingston. The 66-unit real estate project is Guardian Life Insurance Group's first investment in housing and is slated to be completed in November 2018. Mr. Holness used the opportunity to call for partnership in developing a security plan for the area.
Now is the time for us to sit down together to plan out not just traffic flow, not just water and sewage, but let us have a plan for the security of the New Kingston area. Because in the regeneration of the area, we can now build with security in mind.
The Prime Minister, meanwhile, has welcomed the opening of an institution which aims to combat security threats on the island and in the region. A partnership of the Jamaica Defence Force and the Canadian Armed Forces, the Directorate of Training and Doctrine DTD Centre was officially opened yesterday. Mr. Holness says the DTD will streamline the JDF's capacity building and training initiatives to meet world-class standards.
With this organization, the JDF will, for the first time, be able to develop and encode its own doctrine based on best practices of its partners as well as on its own lessons learned, which will then be translated to training serials for applications in the field. It will also ensure that key defense bilateral partnerships are cultivated and enhanced.
A contract valued at over $1 million was signed on Tuesday for the provision of 2 new fire trucks. The contract was signed with National Safety Limited and will see the 2 trucks arriving on the island within the next 8 to 10 months, as they have been built to specifications. 2 other trucks, which were previously contracted, will be handed over to the brigade in September.
The present fleet has 82% of vehicles that are upwards of 10 years old and breaks down frequently and render emergency response uncertain. And so today we in the fire service are happy because it is another demonstration of the resolve of the government to increase the response capability of the service so that we can be more efficient and more effective whenever we are called for assistance.
Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie says the agreement is part of an initiative to properly equip the Jamaica Fire Brigade. He says another contract to provide equipment for the brigade will be signed next week. In addition, a number of fire stations, including the Negril and Buff Bay facilities, will be upgraded this fiscal year.
Over the last couple of weeks, we have seen an increase in bushfires in certain parishes across the island. We have the unfortunate fire at the Redemption Ground Arcade. But what we are seeing is an increase, more demands on the fire service. There are a number of stations across the island that is without a working fire unit as we speak. It is the intention of the government to correct it.
In other news, the local government minister has called a multi-sectoral meeting to address illegal vending in Halfway Tree St. Andrew. Minister Desmond McKenzie says stakeholders and media reports have expressed concerns about wanton vending in the capital. The meeting, which is scheduled for the next 2 weeks, will include the police, the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation, the National Solid Waste Management Authority, and the Jamaica Urban Transit Company.
What exists in Halfway Tree now cannot allow to continue. The government is prepared to take the steps that are necessary to correct the problems in Halfway Tree.
Minister McKenzie was speaking at Tuesday's handing over of 4 new trucks to the NSWMA. They were bought by the ministry at a cost of over $80.2 million. Thus far, the government has provided 13 of the 28 trucks to be commissioned into service this year. The Industry Ministry is conducting a review of the Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise, MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy. The review is to make the policy more effective and is to be completed by year-end. The policy was first adopted by Parliament in 2013 as a framework for the implementation of strategies to support the growth and development of the sector. Chief Technical Director in the ministry, Stephen Wedderburn, says aligning the definition of MSMEs to match international standards and inclusion of the Security Interest in Personal Property Act are being considered as part of the revision.
Key parts of the MSME policies were the development of the Security Interest in Personal Property assets, which allows you to use non-traditional collateral in order to see how we can make the financial institutions take up this avenue more actively, and so that MSMEs can actually use their non-traditional assets to get finances.
Mr. Wedderburn was speaking to JIS News this week on day 1 of the 3-day workshop on the effective management of intellectual property assets for small and medium-sized enterprises. And finally, the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission, BGLC, says the gaming industry has been significantly impacting the economy. Speaking at a recent JIS think tank, Executive Director of the Commission, Vitus Evans, said nearly $6 billion had been generated in revenues for the government from direct taxes and levies.
This underscores the Commission's critical mandate to facilitate and enable continued and sustainable growth of Jamaica's gaming industry.
Mr. Evans says Jamaica is poised to become a leading gaming enclave in the Caribbean, as the Commission intends to fast-track the rollout of internet gaming in the country. He says the BGLC is currently reviewing proposals from licensees, which will be processed as quickly as possible.
In 2015, the online gaming market had a volume of $39.9 billion US. This figure is forecasted to increase to $51.96 billion US by 2018. Against this background, you will agree that it is important that we understand online and interactive gaming and the opportunities and threats that comes with this.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
government's commitment towards creating Jamaica as the first totally digital e-government in this region. So we're going to be the next totally digital government next to Estonia.
And that drive is being supported by a GovNet strategy and e-governance policy that Prime Minister Andrew Holness will tell us more about.
The banner behind me says growth. We're not emphasizing the digital society because it sounds good. We're emphasizing the creation of the digital society because it will bring economic growth and job creation to the Jamaican economy and society. The conventional thinking is that the more we integrate technology, then the more jobs become at risk. I'm certain that that is not the experience or the case. There may be need for retooling, retraining, and of course, the integration of technology liberates existing staff from doing functions that are suboptimal to doing functions that are far more productive. So I wanted to make this point to the public sector that we should embrace technology because it is good for economic growth and job creation. It has taken almost a decade for us to reach to the point where we are now, for the implementation of the first real strategy for the introduction of a system-wide use of technology, and that is the National Identification System. So we are taking steps to increase the efficiency of the public bureaucracy by integrating technology. And the first strategy is to identify every single Jamaican uniquely. That means that every single Jamaican will have an account in the national database, in the National Civil Registry. And that account will hold your identity information. And that identity information will allow you to be verified and authenticated in all the databases that are held across government. So just so that we're not confused, it is not the attempt of the government of Jamaica to have information on all citizens in one place. We want to maintain your privacy. We want to give you the assurance that your data is safe and that what we don't need to know, we don't need to know. We tend to look at the technology in identifying as, yes, we now can find you, but it's not finding you to enforce or impose. Think about the hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans who we have never found to assist with PATH, who need the benefit, but the state just doesn't identify them. So giving identity to the Jamaican people will allow them not just to participate in the real world, but they will now be able to participate in the digital world. So in creating the National Identification System as the first step towards achieving the digital society, we will be making the delivery of public services far more efficient, and that will contribute to greater inclusion, but greater economic growth and job creation as well. All of this has to be coordinated. So we have signed off on our GovNet strategy. We have signed off on our e-governance policy. We are now trying to create the Chief Information Officer post, and that post will be responsible for moving the entire government along the digital platform. So I just thought that I would share with the heads of agencies, the permanent secretaries, members of the private sector who are gathered here, the government's commitment towards creating Jamaica as the first totally digital e-government in this region. So we're going to be the next totally digital government next to Estonia.
Terrible storms, drought, food shortages. Climate change is real. We can't stop it, but we can slow it down. Conserve water, plant trees, recycle, practice rainwater harvesting, use good agricultural practices. Contact the Climate Change Division at 906-0724 for more information.
Government is committed to connecting rural communities with potable water. Through the Government of Jamaica Adaptation Fund program, this was achieved in the farming community of Low River in Trelawney.
Farmers, the lifeline of the food chain. Water, the precious resource that helps to grow the food we love. Put them together and we get an agriculture sector that will produce on a consistent and sustainable level. So the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries is continuously implementing projects to connect farmers with water through initiatives like the Government of Jamaica Adaptation Fund program. The agriculture component of the GOJ Adaptation Fund program is to build farmers' resilience against climate change. With over $250 million Jamaican dollars in funding, farmers in vulnerable communities are being trained in best practice methods such as land husbandry and equipped for rainwater harvesting and improved irrigation infrastructure. Beneficiaries are small farmers in the parishes of Trelawney, St. Mary, Manchester, St. Catherine, St. Thomas, St. Anne and Clarendon. We journeyed into the hills of Low River in southern Trelawney to look at the work being done to harvest and distribute water to the predominantly yam farming community.
The Low River Water Harvesting and Irrigation Scheme is just under $2 million. One of the systems that has been most far-reaching, the fact is that to date we have just about 70 householders that have been connected to the system, and that is directly impacting about 350 community members. This system comprises of an entombment. What we have done, we have improved the entombment. We have built a wall across this area here, about 5 to 6 feet in depth and about 12 feet across. And that has improved the water storage capacity significantly. It was about 9 feet prior to the intervention, and now the 6 feet that we have added brings it to about 14 feet in depth.
To increase the flow of the water from the hill, the 3-inch pipes which connected the system before were changed to 6-inch pipes.
And that is what accounts for the significant pressure that we observe down in the community.
Prior to the improved water system, community members would have to come here and catch water for domestic use, while the farmers had to go to the river to catch water for irrigation purposes.
So you no longer have to go to the river to take up water?
We don't think so.
That's the water that you farm
here.
Pipe run, everything going in process. We don't have to go to the river. We don't have to pay the extra money for you to carry the water.
I think this water system would help us better now.
Presently, we have an approximately 470 farmers who benefit from the system. These farmers presently cultivate some 267 hectares of land. We are encouraging farmers to farm what we call climate-smart agriculture. And this project certainly is a way to assist these farmers. in order for them to produce all year round and in order for them to support, especially the import substitution program that the government is presently promoting.
The Low River Water Project was started in 2014. By enhancing the water system, the Government of Jamaica Adaptation Fund program was able to not only increase the flow of water, but also ran pipes along the main, and the residents took it a step further.
They have gone ahead and invested in pipes, in black tanks, to take the water from our distribution line into their household. So this is a real partnership between the community and the project. Many of the farmers have testified that they are able to go back into production, expand their production, and quite a number of householders are now living more comfortable in terms of having access, increased access to water, both for irrigation as well as domestic purposes. The greenhouse that was out of operation because of the lack of water, preparation is being made as we speak to recommission that greenhouse into production. Transportation comes as far as from St. Anne, Clarendon, Manchester to collect water, to carry back to those communities to service farmers as well as community householders or domestic as well as irrigation use.
The next phase of the Low River Water Project is to connect the farmers with on-farm irrigation systems.
Hurricanes can strike at any time. In the event of one, be prepared to act quickly. If a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, review your home disaster response plan. Map out likely routes to evacuate if your home is at risk, and confirm with relatives or friends you plan to stay with. Also, confirm the location of the nearest shelter. Check your emergency supplies and restock if necessary. Remember, disasters do happen, so be prepared.
We now look at the innovative work of a few young persons to recycle water for agricultural use.
I'm studying general agriculture. I want to be a veterinarian.
Bioengineer. I want to manage my own agricultural business.
They are the future of the agriculture sector and are working towards making a significant impact.
You have certain crops in Jamaica that are being depleted. I would like to re-engineer those crops and bring them back into the world. I'm planning to do something similar to this, or if I can fine-tune the same thing and rename it into a brand that I can offer to the economy, I want to do this.
This is the KISA model, a project that highlights an approach that can be taken by farmers to treat recycled water on their farms to irrigate field crops.
The main purpose of this layout right here is to have an environment where we try to have less economic problems, try to build up a system that is economically and environmentally friendly.
The idea and design came out of a need to implement such a system on the grounds of their Hanover-based agricultural school. The Nakalva students also believe that the KISA model will be able to sustain farmers through periods of low rainfall and drought. Here's how it will work. Say you are a pig farmer. Each time you wash the pig pen, that water can be channeled to various treatment points. The water, along with the waste substance, would then pass through a biodigester, allowing you to produce your own energy for your farm as well as manure.
In the biogas digester, anaerobic bacteria breaks down or digests the material and releases a gas known as methane gas. This methane gas is then sent to the control station where our generator converts this gas into energy and is used up on the farm on a day-to-day basis. So after the biogas digester, the solid part of the material is sent to the drying bed. In the drying bed, it is left open where it can be dried completely. After it is dried, the material is then used back in our outfield and our greenhouse as organic material or manure.
Following that is the water treatment process. The liquid from the drying pond is sent to the anaerobic pond, which is the first stage of treatment.
In this pond, there's a substance known as BOD. BOD is biological chemical oxygen demand. This is the amount of oxygen that bacteria requires to break down organic matter. It is reduced by 85% in the anaerobic pond, and in the second pond, which is the facultative pond, it is reduced by 95%. In the facultative pond, algae is present to add additional oxygen to the water by photosynthesis. And doing this, the algae also removes nitrates and phosphate, therefore purifying the water a little further.
From here, water moves to maturation ponds 1 and 2. This process is to move coliform bacteria.
Anaerobic respiration occurs at the bottom of the pond. The main purpose is to reduce pathogens like bacteria, viruses, E. coli, and no chlorine. Then it will travel in a channel to storage pond, where the water stays there.
This storage pond will also facilitate rainwater harvesting.
This harvested water is used to lower the pH of the water stored in the storage pond, and it is also used to spread out the level of pathogen in the water. This is done because there is a recommended level of pathogen per liter in the water, and doing this will reduce the amount of concentration of pathogen in that specific liter. After the treatment of the water, it is then sent to the control station where the generator and pump is activated, and it is dispersed into our outfields and in our greenhouse irrigation system. So I believe that this is one of the best ideas that all Jamaican farmers should partake in. Not only that it is very beneficial to our economy, it is also beneficial to your pockets. To get this started, it is not really an easy process, but over a period of time you'll realize that because you are creating your own energy, you don't have to go ahead and buy water, because you're the one reusing, recycling your water, you're the one harvesting your water, you're the one treating it, so you don't have to pay to do all of those processes.
It is this application of technology and innovation within the agriculture sector that is being promoted by Portfolio Minister Caenwood.
We have to become technology savvy, and we have to introduce it at all elements of agriculture, because that's the only way that we are going to be on the cutting edge of competition.
And the Minister Samuda is encouraging young people to be part of this transformation by choosing areas of agriculture as careers.
The future of Jamaica's agriculture must rely on the wisdom of the old, but the energy of the young. They are the ones who are going to carry this process forward.
That's all the time we have for you today, but another program comes your way tomorrow. Until then, just click on our website, jis.gov.jm, to stay connected. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JISnews. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.